What's going on, everyone? We are back here at Colorado National Speedway for our second race of the year. Obviously, last week's result was a little bit of a bummer for us, getting wrecked out of our first race of the season and causing quite a significant amount of damage. But luckily, we were able to get the car pretty much rebuilt completely and got everything straightened up in both our front clips and our rear clips. Got a whole new rear end and a whole bunch of other new parts on the car. So we took our first practice pretty slowly, used it mainly as a shakedown for ourselves to make sure our car was going to make it through the end of the day. And then we started to really push and figure out if our car is any good during the second and third practice. Unfortunately, our times didn't reflect anything great for us, and we were quite a bit off the pace. So we're just going to try and use today as more of getting seat time in the car with all the new parts, because we didn't really have a whole lot of time to go over the car and set ride heights, get our setup completely dialed in, because we didn't really give ourselves too much time when putting the car back together. So the car was definitely not behaving the way we had hoped it would coming back to the track. But knowing that this is our first night back after a wreck, we figured we were going to be a little bit shaken up and probably would take us a little while to get back to where we were. And so as practice came to an end, we knew that there wasn't much we could do to fix the car right this second. So we just figured we'd do our quick little checks of tire pressures and everything, and then get the car out into staging for qualifying. Now our qualifying effort went about as poorly as we were expecting to, qualifying 21st out of 32 cars with a best time of a 19.2. Probably one of the worst qualifying efforts we'd had with this car, but unfortunately we just didn't have enough time to really try and figure out what was going on with the car ever since the repair. So unfortunately that did qualify us into the slower main, but we were starting outside pole for it, so we're going to try and hunker down for these 10 laps and see what we can get out of it. And so on lap 7 of our dash, the caution comes out for a car that is stuck in the wall towards pit exit. And so with the caution being out, that gives us an opportunity to kind of go over what happened to us a little bit ago. So right here, we're in line with the 17 behind the 4W as well, riding around in third. Now unfortunately, before our dash actually started, it did rain a little bit, so they did a very lackluster job of drying off the track, and realistically, the only dry groove was the main racing line on the bottom. But right here, we were able to take a pretty decent look at the outside of the 17 to try and get a run off of him. And unfortunately, you can see this little spot in the circle right here is a bit of damp track, and we put our right sides right over that bit. And the second we did, the car just got extremely loose, and we were just heading towards the wall. So we took this opportunity to really take a look at everything, and we tried to turn left a little bit more to add angle into the car to hopefully increase the angle and lessen the impact. Luckily, this didn't damage the car too bad. It did hit the tire and the sidewall and everything there and bent our wheel and rear bumper just a tiny bit, but we were actually able to keep the race rolling for us, and we were able to blend back into the track and restart in 9th after this caution. Coming off at turn 4 and seeing the checkered flag, we finish our dash in 6th place, passing 2 more cars throughout the end of the race, and now we are finally getting back into our 18-second lap times, getting a little more comfortable with the way this car is set up. Obviously, when we're done with the night, we're going to go home and double check over everything and try and get the setup a little bit more dialed in for the following weeks, but unfortunately, the way the car is right now is how it's going to behave the rest of the night. So we're going to go ahead, get everything strapped up, back in, get the car checked over once more, and head out for our feature race, which gave us a 6-car invert, which put us on the pole tonight, leading the charge to the green flag. lap 2 of our feature, we were unfortunately involved in another incident that caused us to go back to the pits and ultimately retire for the night. Now, taking a look back at what happened, we got a pretty decent start here against the 56, leading everyone to the green flag. Got a pretty good 1 and 2 going through the corner. Everything stayed together pretty decently. and I felt the car get pretty tight going into 3 and 4, so we tried to move up as best as we could. Here we see we're clear of the 56, so we are up against the wall, and we've now spotted the 38 on our inside mirror, so we're trying to give him plenty of room on the inside, make sure that he can have the pass, but we didn't realize that the 56 is peeking towards the outside and ultimately had a ginormous run and was able to get to our outside before we even realized it, because we were just paying too much attention to the 38 on our inside here. So as everything kind of moved along, we ended up pushing the 56 up towards the outside wall because, like I said, we didn't see him, and calamity strikes and everything just kind of goes the way we didn't want it to. So unfortunately, it is our second week in a row DNFing out of our feature race. Luckily, the car was still drivable, but we had an impact on our left front with the 38 that caused our steering rod to bend significantly and start rubbing our rotor, so we decided not to continue the race for the night and decided to pack it up in the trailer. Definitely a bummer not being able to finish for the second week in a row, but we are confident that we'll gather all the time we have between now and our next race and go over the car once again, make sure everything is set up properly, and get what needs to be repaired taken care of again. It did rip our fender up quite a bit on our right front, but nothing that a little bit of fiberglass Bondo can't fix. So we're going to take a good look at everything, do a once over on the car, and hope that everything is repairable for the next race, which after this one was Memorial Day weekend. So we're going to work on getting everything put back together. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope to catch you in the next one.